Welcome back to Tran Plays Omni-Link. The saves were all wiped out with the recent patch. There doesn't really seem to be much explanation what happened in the patch notes. But I believe mission objectives in general seem to be tuned up. Remnos. Owned by no one, the Remnos system is a popular hub for trading information and a wealthy mining sector. The fight over rare resources has led to many battles, and the Zaus Coalition has a large presence in this sector. Oh, and when you're talking to people in space, it seems that their portrait is very, very dark now. I don't know why that's a thing either. It's a stylistic choice. Whoops.
Firehawk acquired. Target will be subdued.
The Krogan Empire is after me. Don't you have the virus to worry about?
Come peacefully and you shall not be harmed.
That ship I want to avoid. He'll kick my butt. How do I pull up my objectives again? Is it Q? There we go. Meet Arcadia in 1300, 1400. Alright. That was strange. The Krogan ship just blew up.
It looked like you needed help. You were struggling quite a bit.
You're telling me you did that?
I found a vulnerability in the Korgan's warp core. I used that to detonate the ship.
That must be the Omni-Link ability.
You are correct.
Looks like I can count on Omni-Link whenever I need it.
It would be wise for you to train your skills. As it stands, the virus would obliterate you.
Hold it. I'm not that bad. I'm a pretty good pilot.
I am relieved. Your previous performance must have been what you humans call a joke.
I can't tell if you're being serious. I'll try to be more careful. Yeah, and I was out fighting it, but he just blows up anyways. The main thing is to get away from that other ship. You don't want it to touch you. Alright, there's gonna be a lot of reading in this next part. Keb stood outside Slicer's cantina, hidden in a shadow around the corner. This was the place they were told to meet Arcadia. He hesitated going in. Dawn stood next to him, and waited for him to make a decision. She sighed, turned, and leaned against the wall. Her behavior made her seem more alive. Finally, Keb broke the silence. I'm going in, and I want you to stay here. She turned around to face him and looked disappointed.
This is really important to me. I want to come.
It's dangerous, and I need to protect you. I mean, look at you. Look at me? Dawn looked herself over as if she were damaged. What if people discover you're a hologram and all, and you're sort of a girl? Psh, psh.
Do girls not come to this facility?
No, there are plenty of them. It's just that I don't want you to get hurt. Dude, she spaced you. Don't forget that. Like, you ejected, and now she's healing you. She's from an ancient civilization where her Morpher is like a D-class ship, and her military class ship, and the weak vessel you're like all fawning over with your generative armor and all that. Like, there's...
You are under the impression that I need protection. It is you that is vulnerable.
At that moment, energy started to flow in and around Dawn's body. The area around them glowed with a pleasant light. Then the particles began to condense and materialize into form. Armor equipped onto Dawn's body and weapons appeared in her hands. I'm picturing like a scene from The Mask right now. I think this should definitely have its graphic, a sort of picture for this. In fact, a lot of the section I think needs more art, when possible. Seriously? You have a battle mode? It seemed this manifestation of light and energy was just a teaser. After the energy resided, she took a breath.
Now, may I come in?
I stand corrected. When the doors opened, the music roared and Dawn followed closely behind Keb. The main area of interest was right in the middle with chairs, people, and drinks being served. There were people conversing in all corners and a few cyborgs which Dawn found interesting. One gentleman was pushed and shoved out the door by two much larger thugs. See, it's like this is way dark, like way darker than it really needs to be.
Firehawk, my man, it's been a long time.
Keb and Dawn took a seat at the bar. I see you are doing well, Slicer.
I'm surprised to see you here. The Zaus Coalition doesn't give vacations, or are you on the job?
You know I can't talk about that. Keb left out that Zaus fired him. He was surprised Slicer didn't know, being the owner of a bar. Guess a 10-credit bounty doesn't draw much attention in this part of the galaxy.
Aren't you going to introduce me to this fine lady?
This is Dawn.
The pleasure is mine.
Slicer reached out his hand and grabbed hers. It was done naturally enough that it caught Keb off guard. She accepted his hand in a small shake. Slicer didn't react to touching her in any way that seemed out of the ordinary. Keb watched in surprise and studied Slicer's face for a reaction. Would he be able to tell she's a hologram? Why did she allow him to touch her?
My, you have such soft skin.
Cut it out, Slicer. We're on business.
Fine, I can take a hint. You just let me know if you need anything done. I'll be right over here.
Slicer walked away without giving Keb a chance to talk with him about Arcadia or the pirate base.
I like him. He's nice.
Dawn had a big smile on her face. Was she authentically smiling or trying to fit in? Either way, it was an awkward smile. Oh bother. I'm going to ask around and see if anybody has any information on the pirate base. Just please wait here. She nodded in agreement. That's it? You're not going to insist you come with me?
I'll stay and ask Slicer some questions.
Keb stood and left Dawn at the bar. Slicer immediately went over to her. Slicer may be a womanizer, but he is respectful. He talked with many of the other patrons. It seems no one heard of Arcadia, and even less wanted anything to do with the pirates. One man seemed interested in Keb's inquiries and approached him directly.
You look like a man in search of profits. My name is Darius, and I may be able to oblige.
Information, if you have it.
Information is credits to me. I have a vast network of acquired intelligence, information about Zaus, information about the virus. You name it, I have it.
I need information on the pirate base's location.
I can see why you're running into trouble here. Such information is costly. To reveal its location is to invite death.
What do you want?
I want something worth risking my life for. That woman with cybernetic implants, for instance.
Darius pointed to Dawn at the bar. She's not for sale and she's not my property.
What is she to you, then?
She's my bodyguard.
Unfair trade, perhaps. I'll give you the location of the pirate base and 20,000 credits. How does that sound?
20,000 credits? You must have deep pockets.
Name your price. What is she worth to you?
More than you could ever afford, buddy.
You fool! I've been patient enough with you. You will make a deal or feel my wrath.
As Darius threatened, he suddenly stopped in silence, having felt an ominous gaze his direction. Darius looked towards Dawn, who was now looking at him. Her eyes burned red with rage, and she looked ready to go into battle mode. Keb spoke quickly to prevent a situation. My bodyguard doesn't take threats lightly. I'd move along before someone gets hurt. Keb turned towards Dawn to wave and smile. He even went as far as putting his arm around Darius. Dawn smiled in response and directed her attention back at the bar again. Darius still looked overcome with fear.
You're right. I spoke out of turn. Have a good day.
Darius turned to leave, and when he was a sufficient distance away, a woman approached Keb. Sorry about that. My brother's not very good with people. Nothing Firehawk can't handle. Firehawk is an interesting name. My name is Sabrina. Nice to meet you, Sabrina. You're very formal, Firehawk. A woman with white hair handed me this note. She wanted me to give it to you. So you used to be able to see her. She was already dark before, now she's super dark. Oh, thanks. I don't want to bother you, so I'll be on my way then. As soon as Sabrina left, Keb opened the note and read its content.
Meet me in room 40B, second floor. This is urgent. Come along. Arcadia.
Arcadia, finally! Keb checked the power level on his pistol and headed to the bar. He sat down momentarily and whispered to Dawn. I have a hit on Arcadia's location. She asked me to meet her alone. I'll be back in a minute. She was about to insist on going with him, but as he left, Keb's right hand brushed hers. He kept on walking as Dawn sat motionless. Her face was beaming red.
Why are my systems overheating when he simply touched my hand? What is this feeling?
Germs. It surprised her that she used the word feeling. Dawn was startled that this reaction came from a small touch of Kev's hand.
I need to run its system diagnostics.
She repeated and stuttered her words. She smiled, but this time it wasn't awkward or programmed. It was real. There was something about meeting Arcadia in room 40B, second floor, that seemed odd. On the way to meet her, Kev was jumped by several men and tied in bonds. Yeah, I would say that seems pretty odd to me. But if you didn't realize this was set up, I mean, it should be pretty obvious considering Darius was not really friendly, and then she says she's the sister of Darius. Yeah. A group of men, faces masked, dragged him up the stairs. In the scuffle, Kev strategically dropped Arcadia's notes in the hopes someone would find it, assuming he was going to the same room.
Throw him in with the girl. We'll deal with this later.
This is the same picture as the hauler. Again, everything is just so dark. The man's voice sounded familiar. Kev was tossed into the room without thought of injury as he crashed to the floor. Ouch! Hey, get back here! I'm not through with you! The door shut and it was now completely dark. There, he laid on the cold floor, awkward and alone. What's that? Say again? Kev wiggled onto his knees and slid in the direction of the sound. Anyone here? He slid further until he bumped into someone. It was easy to tell the person's mouth was sealed because of the mumbling. Can you lean your head down near my hands? They're tied. With effort and a little luck and the pitch black of the room, Kev was able to find the edge of the tape and tear it off the person's mouth.
Ouch! Yeah, thanks. That stings.
Are you okay?
Not really. I'm being kidnapped.
You too, huh? He wasn't sure why he joked, but the words just left his lips. He spoke quickly again. Looks like we're both stuck in the same situation.
Not for long. I'm getting out of here.
You seem confident with that statement. Mind if I join you?
I'm not gonna let some thugs get the better of me. I've been in far worse situations. All I need is my hands.
I can help with that. My name's Keb.
I'm Arcadia. You free my hands and I'll get you out of here. Deal?
When Keb learned it was Arcadia, he stiffened a little.
Are you with me, Keb?
Yes, I'm with you.
Good, this first part is the hardest. We need to work on each other's hands. Let's bring our backs as close as we can together so our hands can touch.
Right. Keb decided to let Arcadia take the lead. It took a minute to get into position. They could both feel the hands of the other. They were tied with a primitive binding of thick polyformic strings, something law enforcement normally uses. Untying themselves was not impossible, but they knew it would take some effort. For at least 10 minutes they worked the bindings in silence. I'm getting nothing. You?
I can't loosen the strings. My movement is too restricted.
They both let out a sigh at the same time, and something about that made Arcadia laugh. Despite the situation, Keb felt relaxed leaning his back against hers.
You seem like a nice guy. How'd you get yourself into this mess?
Oh, a little bit of this and that.
Can you be more specific?
I got fired from my job, lost my ship, and then I was supposed to meet a woman at the station and got stood up.
She got you kidnapped, right? Looks like your luck is as good as mine.
I guess you could say I've had a string of bad luck.
Was this girl you were meeting a friend of yours?
Nah, just an acquaintance. She has such a temper too, but I'm learning there's a soft side to her.
We don't have to talk about it anymore.
What's your story? What led you to Remnos Station of all places?
This guy, oh, it infuriates me. I spent 100 years.
100 years?
It's just an expression. I woke up one day to find my life out of control, and this guy shows up and makes it crazier.
I'm not going anywhere if you want to tell me the story and relieve some stress.
This guy calls himself Firehawk and is flying around in my ship. Not to mention, he's kidnapped by co-pilot.
Seems to be a lot of that going around lately.
I was supposed to meet him at the station. Who knows? Maybe he set this whole thing up.
So what did you think of this guy? The name Firehawk is pretty cool. Was he a charming guy?
Why are we still talking about him?
No reason. I'm just positive Firehawk didn't mean to hurt you.
Maybe, but here I am kidnapped.
Keb felt a little guilty, but didn't want to reveal his identity. Psh, psh. Instead, he had an idea. These are polyformic strings, right? Don't those strings react according to what they've tied up?
That's why they are so tight around our wrists. They didn't even have to tie us up, really. The binding tightens or loosens itself as it forms around us.
Sounds to me like there could be a vulnerability in tying someone up in these. Law enforcement only uses them temporarily when transporting criminals.
Now that you mention it, if you trick the strings into thinking they're too tight, they may automatically loosen.
As she thought about it for a second, she realized Keb was right about the vulnerability. That's brilliant, Keb. If the strings detect problems in your blood pressure, they will adapt to a new fitting. so I have to pull my arms tightly apart until the ropes cut into my skin. This is not going to be fun. Be ready to slip your finger in once I relax.
You'll have to tense your whole body and pull with all your might. You can do it!
As he started, the process of tensing his muscles was more difficult than anticipated. His blood vessels enlarged and his face reddened. The polyformic strings cut into his wrists.
Now relax your body. Yes, my fingers are under the strings. I've got it.
Kev's wrists stung with pain, and the rest of his body felt fatigued.
Relax, I can do the rest. Looks like what you did was just enough to get the job done. The string loosens itself so as not cause you injury. That's the problem with tying someone up in polyformic. The material cares too much about the victim. Now I'll be able to pull it off you.
She tried to lighten the mood as she worked the strings with her fingers. Once Kev's hands were undone, he turned around and worked on Arcadia's. At this point, it was much easier, and in a few minutes, they were both untied. That took us a while, so we should get out of here quickly, but I can't see anything. I can't even see you, though you were right in front of me.
I promised I would get you out of here if you got my hands free. A deal's a deal. Leave the rest to me.
No. You'll see in a second no, she doesn't really mean that. Kev had a sense she was smiling as she spoke her words.
When they locked me in here, they made one mistake. They let me see the room. There's plenty of materials I can use to make a light source.
But there's still that problem of not being able to see anything.
You don't get it, do you? I can see everything. I saw the room when coming in, and I know which direction I'm facing.
Kev was impressed by her statement.
The door panel's over there, a toolbox is over there, and wires are over there.
Alright, the words over there don't make any... They don't make anything clear or relevant in this kind of situation. So I think these next few lines should probably be rewritten or maybe revised. Alright, I get it. You're incredible. Now here's why it's silly.
You bet I am.
She laughed.
The problem is if I move, I'll lose which direction I'm facing. So you need to get everything for me.
See, this entire next section could just be removed. It could be cut shorter, and it would make Arcadia seem smarter. Because I think it's a little weird that she would claim to know where everything is, but then lose her place if she moves. People generally have some sort of kinesthetic awareness, so that they have an idea of where they are in any given location. Like if you closed your eyes and walked around, you still have an idea of where you are. So someone this smart, unless she's a complete klutz, should be just fine, especially if she claims she can see the room. Arcadia grabbed Kev by the shoulders and spun him around. Plus she also moved in the beginning to put her back against Kev and so forth. And to get her gag out.
Take about 6 steps forward. You'll reach a metal shelf. Slide your hand along the shelf and grab the toolbox and wires.
Are we in like a workshop or something?
I know. Really? These kidnappers don't know what they're doing. There's even a crystal we'll use as a bulb. Once you grab those items, come back to me and I'll lead you in another direction.
For the next 10 minutes, Arcadia gave Kev directions and he retrieved all the items. Now cross your fingers and wish me luck. That's the most I can do in this blackness. Do you even know what you're doing?
I used to play like this when I was a kid. This is similar to arts and crafts for me.
With muscle memory and years of experience, Arcadia tweaked a small device she hoped would now give light.
Just need to connect these cables and there we go.
The crystal reflected a beautiful light throughout the room. They both looked around, taking in the spectacle until their eyes met each other. Arcadia pleasantly smiled. The light made her white hair glow like moonlight. Her narrow eyes made her appear rebellious. And Kev admired her posture, which was confident and inviting, and I saw in her silhouette that she still had her gun, which, and I understand that it wouldn't necessarily change the art style for that, but it would be a nice touch. Wow, Arcadia, that's incredible. You're genius.
Thank you, Kev. We make a great team. Wait a second, do I know you?
As soon as Arcadia recognized them, she jumped back in surprise, shook her head, and grimaced his direction.
You're that guy Firehawk. You lied to me. You said your name was Keb.
My name is Keb. Just give me a second to explain. She folded her arms angrily and somewhat disappointed.
You're the guy who stole my ship in D8. That's the reason I'm in this mess in the first place. Why did you lie to me?
I know you don't like me, and I thought it would complicate things if I told you who I was. Look, let's just get out of here first.
Fine, but I'm not through with you.
She motioned him to come to the door, and Keb watched as she began to work on the control panel. Someone's coming. Noise was heard from outside, although faint. Footsteps grew louder and louder. They took a few steps back. Now, you gotta remember where we're at. By this point, if you're familiar with enough stories, you know who's going to be on the other side of this door. Because they already built this up. If they do one or the other thing, I think it can be a better surprise if that was the intended effect. Get ready to charge whoever opens that door. And also, this shows that the author knew what was going to happen, so it's kind of like slightly the author's awareness is pervading the character's speech patterns. It's like the pronoun game. I hate the pronoun game. When the door opened, there was even a bigger surprise waiting for them, and this was also unnecessary. If you actually want the reader to be surprised, you'll want to trim out some of this, I think. Alright, so this is chronologically out of order, which I think is also a problem. Dawn waited patiently at the bar. No one approached her, even though she definitely stuck out among the crowd. Dozens of eyes looked her direction, which made her feel uncomfortable. Slicer was also looking through the corner of his eyes at her, but in a caring way.
You haven't touched your drink. Is there something bothering you? Anything you want to talk about?
She remembered when her cheeks turned red and the exhilarating feeling she'd never experienced before.
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm a good listener. I hear all sorts of stories. I'd love to hear yours.
She cut him off.
Please leave the immediate area. I do not wish for you to get hurt.
At first, Slicer took it the wrong way, but then understood the statement when 2 men and a woman walked up to the bar. Sounds like a joke right there.
Can I interest you in a drink? Oh, it looks like you haven't touched yours yet. My name is Darius.
Dawn rolled her chair around to face them. They laughed as she looked up. She gave them a big smile.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Up close, Darius wondered why he feared her before. She was relatively small and non-threatening in every way.
I just wanted to introduce you to my friends. Say hello to my sister, Sabrina, the teenage witch.
How do you do?
And this is Frank. He's been modified with B1000 series military-grade implants.
He looks... Now, and I know you can't really tell because he's completely colored in, but when I played this before, I commented that he looks like he's from the wrong game. He looks like he's from Dark Souls or Baldur's Gate or something.
Frank doesn't speak much. He's more brawn than brains.
Dawn stood up from her chair, which gave her a few inches, but was still dwarfed by Frank.
The implants gave him the durability of 3 men and the punching force of 612 pounds.
That's actually not a lot.
Let me demonstrate, Frank. Frank, give her a little tap.
Frank pulled back his fist and landed a solid punch right across Dawn's cheek. She could have let the punch pass through her hologram form, but she took it instead. Her neck turned with the force of the punch, and she felt a little sting. It was odd that she felt anything. She strained her head to see the surprised look on Darius's face. Her skin was perfect, without redness or a bruise.
Frank! I said tap, not love tap.
He assumed Frank landed a soft punch, even though it looked hard.
I think I will have that drink.
Dawn turned around. She had no expression on her face. She took the drink and gulped it down in one go. What the others didn't see was the liquid molecules of atoms and electrons turn into energy and absorb into her matrix. Her body began to emit an aura. The surrounding lights and other electronics began to flicker as she absorbed more energy into her body.
Let me give it a try.
Darius heard her, but was too shocked to say anything back or move a muscle. Her eyes pierced through his body and soul. The energy condensed around her fist, and with a forward thrust, her hand connected with Frank's gut. So yeah, definitely all this stuff, I think, needs to have way more art. In general, you want to show, not tell.
Frank!
Frank's body twisted as he was thrown over several tables, 30 feet across the floor. The other patrons jumped out of the way as glass and wood shattered.
Do something, Darius! Stop her!
Drop her, man!
It seemed just about every person in the room pulled out guns and blades with Darius's order. At that moment, guns materialized in each of Dawn's hands. Once the blast started, they didn't stop. The first shots hit Dawn directly but didn't connect and passed through her. This caused many to shift position in confusion. She used the opening to blast their weapons at the nearest guard. The blast hit the man's gun hand and sent the weapon flying up. Subsequent shots hit the gun multiple times, flinging it higher and higher. There's also combat animation that's sometimes done in visual novels, like flashes and such. Not like a full screen flash, but just kind of like a RPG Maker attacks sprites, models, or animation, I guess. Anyways, I think I read that line already. The man reached for it, but was stunned in the chest while distracted. Barricades went up quickly, and Dawn dived behind some cover of her own. The other men in the room unloaded with everything they had. Dawn stood up and moved from position to position. Darius and Sabrina screamed, having been caught in the middle of the fight. A couple shots from their own group connected and they were out cold on the ground. Dawn emerged again and started to shoot with accuracy, but the other men were well trained and protected within their own barricades. This didn't stop Dawn as she phased with incredible speed through some tables to inch her way closer. Her ability to pass through objects made the people panic and unload shots without accuracy. Dawn flipped the table aside where two guards were hiding and roundhouse kicked one across the face. The other guard raised his weapon to attack and the shot was deflected past the side of her cheek. Dawn disarmed the man, then dove through his body, pulling her back leg up to hit the man's face with her foot. The man crashed to the floor and passed out. There was a quick opening and shots were fired. Some of them connected with Dawn's body and she was knocked back momentarily. The weapons had little effect and she charged again. The men screamed and leapt from behind cover and out the door. She didn't feel it important to follow and powered down from battle mode. The room was eerily silent. Only sparks, static, and flashing lights gave life to the room.
Threat eliminated. It's safe now, Slicer. You can come out.
Slicer's eyes appeared over the counter. He was too paralyzed to say anything. His bar was in ruins. She looked at him with a cold, emotionless face. He looked at her in fear, but then she gave him a bright smile. He returned the smile awkwardly and hid again behind the counter. Dawn's attention diverted to a galactic news bulletin flashing across the screen of one of the monitors. A familiar face with an announcement written next to it. This whole sentence is pretty awkward.
Wanted alive. Keb calls himself Firehawk. 10,000 credit reward. Previously employed at house. Last known location. Nabulan system.
Knowing the exact location of Keb, Dawn set the digital pad back on the table and proceeded to room 40B, second floor. Keb and Arcadia waited anxiously to know the source of the sounds beyond the door. A huge blast connected with the door and the metal frame began to melt. The melting continued until the rest of the door loosened and crashed open. A blinding light emerged, and to their surprise, Dawn casually walked into view. Well, who else do you think would be melting the door if you didn't have a flair for how stories normally unfold, which is understandable given that it's your mini, you're not thinking of this as a story, the characters aren't. But who else would really melt up on the door? They quickly agreed that it was best to return the ship before talking further about what happened. Exit the station and return to your ship. No. Remnos Station is your favorite place to relax. Given the option, you'd spend all day here.